coming to you from a rich top in Montana at the MPG Ranch. I'm Allie Depew from Inspired Classroom, and it is a little bit chilly today. I will tell you that.
Matter of opinion.
Matter of opinion. It's not, what is it? Not the weather. It's just your clothes and your attitude. So anyhow, I have some really great friends that I want you to meet. We're going to talk a bunch about mountain lions and research, and I want to hear all of your questions as well. But let's start us off with a little introduction and an overview of where we're at.
I am Joshua, and I am the education and outreach guy here on the ranch, and I get to study mountain lions in the winter for the last about 10 years.
I'm Erica. I'm a tracker on this project. This is my 8th season.
I am Maggie, and this is my 5th season being out in the field.
And where are we?
We are on the amazing MPG Ranch. So we are in the Bitterroot Valley on the east side of the valley. So my view right now is the Bitterroots, and behind us are the Sapphire Mountains. This is Baldy Mountain behind me. And we are a private conservation organization, and we steward 15,000+ acres of land. And we meet the river in the west, Forest Service land in the east. We cross Miller Creek in the north, and a lot of other open space, both north and south. And so we are a huge, huge chunk of land to have managed for conservation and protected in this way. And the work that we are doing is trying to figure out how to restore impacted landscapes. So we're studying everything from the soil microbes to the grasses and the shrubs and the trees and the pollinators and the raptors and songbirds and bears and mountain lions. And today we're going to talk to you about mountain lions.
Awesome. So I'm seeing a bunch of different classes. I think I know where most of you are from, but I would love for you to take just a second, introduce yourselves, and maybe say where you're from and what grade you are. And then based on that, that's going to help us determine sort of the direction of this hour, this 45 minutes. Mrs. Horson's, we know where you're from. How about you? How about we just, can you guys wave to Mrs. Horson's class? She's actually just down there a little bit. She's like literally right there. Can you guys wave back at us? Hey there. All right, Mr. Rang's class, where are you guys from and what grade have you got? Oh, Tumwater, Washington, 4th grade. Awesome. That is so cool. How about, Miss Schmidt's class? And you can type it in the chat too if that's easier. I can see you. I cannot hear you though. All right, Mr. Schmidt's class, let's see if I can figure this out. You are from, oh my gosh, are you St. Regis? Yeah. That's fantastic. I love it. That's great. And then we have Mrs. Ulrich's class, and I think you're a Montana class as well. St. Regis is in 6th grade. Perfect. Mrs. Ulrich, what grade have you got there? Oh, they're having some audio issues, but they're better now. Perfect. Oh, CJI is on. CJI, what grade are you guys? You guys could type in the chat for us. And just let us know.
Just give it a second. Hi, how's it going?
Good. How are you guys? We can hear you.
We are good. How are you?
Awesome. We can hear you guys loud and clear now. That is so great. Perfect. Okay, there's Miss Ulrich's class. What grade are you guys in? Because I can't even see. There's no video for me to even guess what grade you're in.
We're freshmen, but the next class is coming in like 5 minutes.
Okay, so the freshman class. Okay, perfect. Well, you guys, it's nice to have you for 5 minutes, and then we'll get to hang out with the rest of your class. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to talk just a little bit about the research and what we're studying. So why don't we start with just a few basic things that you know about mountain lions. And while they're telling you some of the things that they know, go ahead and type in the chat things that you guys know about mountain lions or any questions that come up from what they're telling you.
Yeah, okay, so this here is Tom. We're going to call him Tom. But it's actually a relatively small male cat, so they can get a little bit bigger than this. Very long tail that they use as they're walking through the landscape for balance. And these guys mostly move around in a walk. So they're going to be stalking. They're going to be moving very silently, relatively slowly, and then they're going to make quick bursts of movement to finally catch their prey. So they're built more like a wrestler. They're pretty stocky. They're muscular. They're very powerful. They can take down prey that are several hundreds of pounds, so twice their weight potentially.
4 times their weight.
4 times their weight.
Yeah.
And what else?
What she was talking about are them being apex predators. So they are top of the food chain and they are built for hunting. Another part of them that's built for hunting and being stealthy is that they are pretty well camouflaged. As you can see, its fur compared to the background, it's pretty well blending in. It's got this nice medium brown fur with like chocolate tips on it, and it's just really well equipped to be stealthy out here.
Yeah, they're a stalk and ambush predator, so they're gonna be really sneaky, get really close to their prey, and then they close that distance with a burst of speed. And they're built more like a wrestler than a long distance runner. So they've got thick forelimbs here, and they can really grab hold of stuff and take down prey much larger than they are.
Yeah,
which is really impressive.
These paws are pretty big.
Yeah.
This is not a house cat.
No, and they've got 4 really nice sharp claws in here, and then there's a dew claw up high on the front leg. And so if they grab something, they can even get that 5th claw into there, which would be like our thumb.
Wow.
And that's the largest claw on there.
So a few comments from the chat. They're dangerous. They can run very, very fast. They can jump very, very far. How far can they jump?
Oh man, we can show you if you'd like to see.
I bet they would. Who's gonna go?
Do the counting thing.
Okay, we're gonna count. Okay, so
Maggie's been in Zoom meetings all week.
If somebody from each of your classes would like to stand up and go to the end to one side of the room, what I'd like you to do is every time I count, you're gonna pace. So just like what pace is just like take a normal step. So we're gonna pace out how far a mountain lion can jump. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna start counting.
This is from me and Erica to as far away as Maggie's gonna get.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold on. Is that far enough?
I think she needs to go farther.
What do you guys think? Further? All right, let's go. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh, 14. You're
probably about good right there.
About that?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. You want to find your little rangefinder? That was pretty awesome.
We zapped her with the rangefinder last time. So she's at 12 yards away from me, which is about 36 feet. So that's pretty impressive. So 30 to 40 feet on a jump is possible.
So that's huge. That's like 2
craziness.
2 lanes of traffic.
Yeah,
if I
had a buddy who did observe a cat jump from the side of a highway, cross 2 lanes of traffic, land in the median without skipping a beat, jump the other 2 lanes of traffic, and cross the road.
That's amazing. Okay, here's another observation. They have a lot of different names.
True.
How many of them can you name?
Catamount.
Puma. Cougar. Mountain lion.
Mountain screamer.
Catamount.
We got catamount.
What's the one in Florida?
Panther.
Panther. Do you guys know any ones that we're not thinking of? That's pretty good. If you have any other ones, type them in the chat. How big can they grow?
Females can get upwards, like a big female would be 130, 140
Pounds.
pounds. Yep. And big males can get up to like 180, 190. Can get tip the scales at 200.
Almost 200 pounds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're kind of like people. You know, we come in various sizes, and males are typically a bit larger. And so with cats, you've got the males are 1.5 times the size of a female on average. But the biggest cat that ever came through a game check station was 276 pounds.
What?
So that's a big cat.
Woo! Holy buckets.
Yeah, I can't, like, that's just crazy.
Have we
I
talked
can't
about
imagine.
the
I
pellet?
mean, I'm like 210.
I was
I'm
gonna
a
say,
big guy.
yeah,
Like,
that's
I can't imagine.
Okay, well let's talk about. Oh, and by the way, one of the teachers said you guys all look pretty bundled up. How cold is it where you are? It started out at 18 degrees this morning, and we've been here about 8 hours, and it's about 35 degrees. So yeah, we're not super warm,
But
but
it's starting to
It's
snow.
starting to snow
right
There's
now.
degrees.
yeah.
For the record, I am plenty cozy.
Oh,
I don't know what's wrong with all these
I
people.
just got to run 12 yards, so I'm
Yeah.
good.
yeah, we're fine. So yeah, let's talk about. Obviously, you guys go out in the winter, so
Yep.
you're used to this, right? So let's talk a little bit about the tracking itself and kind of what you do to get the information, and then after that we'll talk about why. So let's go through the gear.
Yeah, well, maybe I can break down kind of what we're trying to collect, and then maybe Erica can go through some of the gear. We pretty much have 3 components if you want to try to break it down. So we're tracking ourselves. So we try to understand how the cats are moving on the landscape. And we have a GPS unit. We track ourselves on the landscape, and then we track the cats when we find their prints. And we often will backtrack them. So imagine that we find a cat and it's walking this way. With the prints, we walk the other direction. So we have their tracks. We also collect poop, scat, and hair samples for DNA analysis. So we're trying to understand family relationships, who's the mom, who's the dad, who's all related, and how many are on the landscape. And then we also have cameras that we put out on trees when we find a kill site or when we find an area where we think the cats are going to be back. And so we then have footage of all of their behaviors, and we know who is there because we have the DNA, and it all just fits nicely together.
Let's take a look at what's in your pack.
All right,
What is in the
so in order to collect all that data, we have to have a whole bunch of gear that we haul out with us. We got a backpack full of stuff with our water and food for a nice long day of trudging through the snow. Our most critical piece of gear probably is our GPS. And that's, like Maggie was saying, we keep record of where we are going, where we find tracks, where the tracks are going, where we find DNA samples like the scat and hair samples. We log it all in there. We have our tracking kit, just a bag full of goodies that we need to collect our DNA samples. So for scat, we have gloves that we need to collect the scat, for obvious reasons. We don't want to be touching it. And a whole bunch of collection cups that we put the scat in. If we find a latrine, we'll fill up all of these collection cups and have gallon bags full of poop that we're hauling around. So we have extra baggies to put that in so that it's not leaking everywhere in our backpacks. Hand sanitizer for after that process, which is important. Oh, we also have a first aid kit that we haul with us. Because we're, trudging around in some kind of brutal terrain sometimes. So it's important to stay safe while we're out there. Let's see. We got, for our hair samples, we have envelopes and these forceps that we use to collect the hair samples. And you'll see us on our hands and knees crawling through some brush that a mountain lion went through, looking for 1 or 2 pieces of hair on a twig. And we'll use this to collect that and put it in the envelope. We have our game cameras that we take with us so that if we find a jackpot of a kill site, then we can set these up and get video footage of who all is there and what they're doing there and all their behaviors while they're at this kill site. Did I miss anything?
And snowshoes. We're
Yes.
often, some people bring skis, but mostly we're just hiking, but we often carry snowshoes with us as well.
Ooh, I have a really interesting question from Mila down in Florence. She saw a picture on your website of an elk, and the elk was hidden under some sticks. Why do they hide the food that they kill?
Mountain lions cache their kills to hide them from scavengers so that they don't lose them. Because if you think about how loud magpies and crows are, when they find out, they tell the neighborhood that there's some food, and then you have competition. And if something comes in that will push the mountain lion off of that, then they've lost that food resource because they're very subordinate at a kill site. They'll leave for any number of reasons.
So do they don't necessarily eat their food all in one day?
No, they average time on a deer is going to be about 4 days. It's going to be more on an elk or something larger, and they will bed nearby and feed until it's completely gone. And they can eat about 20 pounds in a sitting, so that can go quick. But think about what kind of a nap you would want to take if you ate 20 pounds of anything.
It's kind of cool when we get to a kill site. I like mentioned that it's a jackpot, but it's because they kind of set up shop at that spot for like 4 or more days. So they'll have the actual kill site, then you'll see like a little trail to a bed site where they're bedding down, taking those big long naps after they eat a bunch. And then there's, you know, sometimes a trail over to a latrine site where they do all their pooping. And that's a jackpot for us. We'll go there and mine through that latrine site and get tons of DNA samples from that.
Mountain lions are really organized.
Yeah.
The kittens are not, but the adults are. It's amazing. They keep a really tidy kill site.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. How many mountain lions are on the ranch? Keith wants to know.
We have the easiest answer is probably about 4 breeding females, 1 dominant male, and then an assortment of transient cats moving through. We have 2 mothers who have 2 or 3 kittens right now, and then dispersed individuals that are trying to stay in their mom's range. So
it ebbs and
lot.
flows.
Yeah, it does. It sometimes there's more, sometimes there's less, and it depends on a number of factors. But the safe answer is probably like 4 adult females, 1 dominant male, another female with an adjacent territory, and that's a pretty dense population for that size area.
Awesome.
Great. Okay, so you collect all of your stuff and then come back, and then what happens with it so that you can learn from it? Because you guys are the scientists in the field, the researchers in the field. You have to be the ones out there. And I know that Erica, the last class, talked a little bit about going through the game camera, footage and stuff. But so there's that. What are all the processes that happen after you come back and get warm? And
that's a good question. So we have to enter all of that data that we collected on our GPS units. So we upload that all into the computer. We eventually end up shipping off our DNA samples to a lab to get those processed. And then, there's a part of uploading all of the videos and like going through all the videos and kind of categorizing them and organizing them. So there's a lot of computer work, data work, and there's also a lab component that we don't deal much with. We kind of outsource that.
Yeah, we all of our samples, hair and scat samples, go to the genomics laboratory at the University of Montana, and then there's a whole other team over there that takes the lead on that, and it takes a while to get through all the samples that we send them, because we send them a lot of samples.
And then you get that done, and then they come back, right?
Yep.
In about a year?
Yeah, it takes about a year, and they send us reports that tell us first to the species level. So like, is it a mountain lion, or did we pick up something else? Is the DNA even good enough to tell us it's a mountain lion? And then of the known mountain lions, then how many are individuals? And are they individuals that we already know, or are they new individuals? And then the last report I get is, how are they all related? And that is like Christmas. Like those are the best emails that I get all year, They just pop up randomly, and I am so thrilled and so excited to open those and read all about it. So it's a hoot.
Oftentimes when we're out tracking, it's almost like you can tell what they're doing as a behavior based on the tracks, but you kind of have a mystery because you don't know exactly like who you're following. But then when you get the DNA back from the lab, then you know like, oh, that was Willow and she has 2 kittens, but I didn't see the 2 kittens, so they disperse, and you kind of can piece all of the bits of the story together with having that extra information about the DNA.
Was it F5 that 2 years ago we tracked?
Yeah.
That was like an older cat.
Yeah, so she's had kittens now 2 winters straight in a row, which means she lost the first winter's kittens and had another set. Oh. And I thought she was dead because we didn't sample her for a while, and she is a very old mountain lion, which is probably why she's not having great survival rates with her kittens, is because she's not hunting very well.
So it's like Christmas for us too, when we come back the following year and we're like, all right, what's all the DNA?
Yeah.
Tell us who's out there and like what stories matched with what mountain lion. And,
right.
Yeah, it's fun.
And it is all those pieces of the puzzle. So it is the imagery from the kill sites, because we might get mom and 1 kitten, but we know that there are 3 because we have the image. And then it's the tracking reports and the story from being on the ground. We know what's happening. We're seeing it play out. We get to put that part together. And then the genetics tell us who's who. And with all of that together, we get a much more complete picture of what's taking place.
So you're like detectives.
Yeah.
In the wild.
Yep.
Yeah.
It feels that way.
Yeah.
Great.
I love it. Well, we have a couple of sort of our rapid fire questions for you. So, why are mountain lion tails so long?
For balance. They use that big long tail as a counterweight when they're sprinting or changing direction when they're trying to hunt their prey.
Or if you've ever watched them like walk on a skinny log, you'll see that tail moving a lot to help balance them on the log. Mm-hmm. And one time we had a mountain lion hunting mule deer in deep snow, and that tail was like flap, flap, flap on like either side of the trail all the way down. It made the funniest looking track.
Yeah, you'll see it often in the tracks.
Yeah.
And they do love walking on logs.
They do.
It could be like an open field. There's 1 log and they walk on the log. They love it.
Yeah.
Like a cat.
They are cats.
Yeah.
We're going to start putting cardboard boxes out just to see what happens.
Just kidding.
I bet if we put a cardboard box at a kill site and a camera on it, we'd get some fun stuff.
Gosh.
And that, or a red laser light.
Yeah, totally.
How do they hunt?
They're stalk and ambush predators. So they take the landscape at a walk. They find prey, close the distance through stealth, and then close that final bit through a blinding dash. And they can run about 40 miles an hour at a go. And as you saw, they can jump really far. So they can really close distance quickly when they need to. But if the prey is alert to them and gets ahead of them, they can't maintain that for a long distance. So they will get outrun. I think only like 10% of any hunt is successful. So, they fail a lot. So for any hunters out there in the audience, don't feel bad if you put in a lot of effort and don't come home with much. It happens to everything.
Yeah.
What scares a mountain lion, and do they have any predators?
The main thing killing mountain lions is other mountain lions and people.
And other apex predators, there's competition there. So wolves and bears are kind of at the top of the food chain with them. And you mentioned that they're pretty subordinate on kill sites. So if a wolf or a grizzly challenges them for their kill, they're not gonna engage with that.
Yeah, and they leave a lot of food out there for everybody else as a result. So they feed, there's great papers on this. They feed weasels, they feed everybody, fox and coyotes and everybody. Yeah, lots of eagles. Even like there's like 30 some species of beetle that like exist in mountain lion kills because of mountain lion kills. So it's amazing what they provide for everybody else that lives out there.
So you're saying they're all connected?
They are all connected.
How long are their teeth?
Long enough. It's going to vary by individual. They're, you know, they're probably like a couple, not quite a few, maybe inches long. They're pretty decent sized canines, but they really wear down a lot over use and over the years. And so those teeth that are like their primary tool for killing prey become less and less and less effective. So by 8 years old, for mountain lion, they've lost the edge, and they're going to have a harder time hunting and feeding themselves.
Will you take us through? I know that there was a pretty amazing video of a mountain lion taking down a bull elk. Would you talk us through kind of how they use their teeth?
Yeah.
And their claws?
So they with this kill that we filmed, the mountain lion had control of the elk's head, which is pretty common on larger animals, and it was biting into the throat. And so if they hit the carotid artery, they'll bleed out really quickly. And if they don't, they're trying to suffocate the animal, so they're crushing the trachea. And it took 20 minutes of struggle. The elk is on its feet trying to kick the cat, throw the cat, thrash the cat, and the cat's just holding on for dear life. And if you've got a cat at home and you see that little tail flicking, you know they're pretty interested in whatever's going on. And this cat's tail was just going the whole time. And it took 20 minutes, but the cat won that struggle.
That was a mom cat, right?
That was a female cat. So that female is like probably 100 pounds, maybe 140. And that bull elk, he was a spike, so he's a little smaller, but you know, he's over 400 pounds. He's probably closer to 5. And that is it's a big difference in size.
Another question we have is, have you come close to mountain lions while doing your field research?
All the time. Yeah.
Yes, I have, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I can't remember who said this to, but we have not seen a mountain lion while on the study, but that, you know, because of our protocols, we're trying not to spook mountain lions. But we have both seen quite a bit of evidence of mountain lions being in our vicinity, seeing us while we're, you know, doing our thing. So yeah, we're definitely have come close to them, even if we don't see them.
Where did you see a mountain lion, Joshua?
Oh, I've seen several. I've seen more of them hunting than I have during this project, because I'm a little less concerned about making noise while I'm out tracking. But when I'm hunting, I'm very concerned about making noise. So I'm much quieter in the woods. And so I've actually surprised some mountain lion while I've been out. So I tracked one to a tree one time. I've spooked a couple while I've been out looking for other things.
St. Regis is interested in how many game cams are on the ranch, and maybe you could tell them how they could engage with those game cams.
Oh, go to www.mpgranch.com and click on the menu button and go down to the cameras section. There are 14 to 16 live cameras. One was right here, and there's another one up behind us. And you can go on and grab those cameras, moving around, zoom in and out, watch the horses and the elk. And then our website and our Facebook feed at MPG Wildlife will populate with a lot of those cameras from the Buckeye Network, is what we call it. And that is motion activated cameras, so stills of wildlife. But then we have the Trail Cam Network, where we curate that, pull the cards, and have to curate all that information. And those take a little while to get out, but there's hundreds of those on the land here. And so we have really, really extensive and impressive camera network, which allows us to document wildlife behavior and movement.
That's so cool. I love it. Okay, so here's 2 mountain lion baby questions, or kitten questions.
Oh man.
Okay, when do kittens start to hunt? At what age?
I don't remember what you said.
Oh, I mean, they're learning from mom. So she's going to start introducing them to hunting. They're like hardwired. So if you watch kittens, it's like pounce and play from as soon as they can move. It's actually like kind of amazing to watch it happen. Like little tiny month-old puffball cats are like fiercely engaging each other at kill sites, and pouncing and playing and wrestling and tussling, and all of that is that hunting behavior that they're practicing. And then eventually their mother's going to teach them more and more and more, but they are not independent until about 15 months of age, which is the average dispersal age. At that point, they are fully on their own. So they need to know how to hunt by then so that they can support themselves. Sometimes they are not good at it and they don't survive as a result. Males will sometimes disperse earlier at like 11 months, but 15 is the average. And we've even seen it last as long as 24 months with some individuals. So, you know, there's individual differences there, but they're on their own by about 15 months.
We've had some footage of where kittens have been nursing from their mom, and then they will go and feed on some meat that their mother has killed and fight and bare their teeth and hiss and play with each other and then go nurse.
And then go cuddle up and nurse.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So this one, I think I'd like you to talk a little bit about some of why you're doing the research and also what things that are surprising that you're learning. But this question that I'm going to lead you off with is, how many babies does a mama mountain lion typically have?
Keep answering these.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so maybe Josh can correct me if I'm wrong, but like between 2 and 4 is average.
Yeah, 1 to 4.
1 to 4, and it kind of depends on their resources. So that doesn't mean they might have 4 kittens, but that doesn't mean that they're all going to make it. But we had a very interesting case 2 years ago where we had on the footage 6 kittens were following this one mom, and they were all the same age. They looked to be the same age, and we don't know if that one female actually had 6 kittens or if somehow she had adopted kittens from another cat. And that's things that we're trying to figure out with the DNA, but generally between 1 and 4.
Yeah, and usually like half that number survives. So 1 or 2 from any given litter is pretty typical for survival rate. And then even years out, because we're following these cats for years. So we had a group we called the teens. It was a litter of 4. 2 of those cats survived their first winter and made it to dispersal age and adulthood. Of those cats, 1 survived to be 3 or 4 years old. And so that's just kind of how it goes being a cat. And then to jump on what Maggie's saying there, yeah, like we suspect there was adoption with that, but we're not sure. And most resources that you read only say that 1 to 4 is even possible. Like I did a lot of digging and I only found 1 reference that even said it was biologically possible for a cat to have 6. So boy, we just don't fully know the answer to that one.
It's interesting too, because not only did she have 6, but they all reached like pretty old.
Yeah,
I don't know how many are still.
They made it to adulthood.
Kicking. Yeah, but
the
they're
whole lot.
Yeah, we had footage of 7 full-grown mountain lions walking by.
It looked like a
pack.
pride. It was amazing.
Yeah, a pack of mountain lions walking by.
Yeah.
So that was pretty unusual, to say the least.
It's incredibly unusual.
Yeah.
Like you know, Planet Earth, which is a pretty important production, filmed mountain lions in South America and made a really big deal about a mom that raised 4 successfully. And so we had one here raising 6. So it's kind of amazing.
Okay, so here's another kitten question. And I'm wondering, so I have heard a lot of mountain lion stories over the last several years working with MPG. And this one is sort of one of my personal favorite stories. And so I'm wondering if maybe you'll share this one. What does a mom do with her kittens when they go out hunting, and do they ever get lost? So I think you might know the story I'm thinking of.
Yes, they do. So what we found is moms will stash their kittens when they're hunting, and they'll stash them, you know, maybe they just make like a little spot under a tree and here you are, just stay here, little ones. Or we've got a series of dens where there's like 3 of them and they will move from den to den. And what we're finding because of the imagery is that these kittens, which they're very young, they're still like, you know, maybe 4 or 5 months old, are moving very independently of mom around this den network. And on 2 instances, we had a kitten get left behind. Once it was for a short period of time, mom came by, picked that cat up, no problem. The next time that happened, that cat got left for like 28 days or somewhere around that. It was a long time. And what happened is this cat leaves, eventually just walks away. And that's where the footage ends. And if we didn't get anything to follow up, we'd have just assumed that cat passed away because it looked very weak. It had lost a lot of weight. Like, it was not looking well. And we knew it was part of that giant litter. And then a couple months later, we get images of mom and that entire litter. So mom somehow managed to reunite with this kitten, and that kitten survived. So, you know, if they get a little too on their own program, they're going to get left behind. And I don't know what a mountain lion's counting skills are like. So she may have just assumed she had them all.
Especially with 6 of them.
Yeah, right. 6 is a lot to manage.
It's a lot of. I've heard it's hurting cats.
Yeah. It's what it looks like from the images we've seen.
Right. So when you're on kill sites, do you see golden eagles often?
Yes.
Loudon wants to know about that.
All the time.
And the cameras. Yeah, the cameras catch them a lot, feeding for sure.
Yep.
Magpies and golden eagles.
Yeah, right.
How big are they when they're born? What's their average weight when born?
About a pound.
Itty bitties.
Little,
Yeah.
like a pound of butter.
Yep.
What happens to dad?
Dad does not take much responsibility for the rearing of offspring. He is not involved.
And they have their own kind of territories that they patrol, and they'll do this behavior we call scraping. So with their back feet, they'll like make these parallel marks, and they often will urinate or sometimes poop in that area where they mark their territory, and they just make the rounds, and they'll scrape as they go, and they kind of just maintain their territory by walking and scraping, and the
sometimes
females
fighting.
do something different.
Yeah. But because they do that, and because they maintain a territory that overlaps multiple females with whom they are having kittens, they're also providing stability and safety in that area.
So that's their job.
Yeah, it's pretty much their job.
There was a question about fences.
Yeah. What's that?
Fences on the ranch?
We've taken down all of our interior fencing and most of our exterior fencing, and anything that meets another property that needs to be there, we've made it wildlife friendly. So fencing is not really a thing that the wildlife needs to worry about.
And there was another one. Do they eat anything? Oh, do they like to eat anything else besides deer and elk?
Yes. Like, they'll eat pretty much anything, and sometimes they specialize in weird stuff. Like, I read a study about a mountain lion that was specializing in mountain goats and really impacted the population in a given area until that female passed away. The female that moved in to replace her didn't care about mountain goats, and the population came back. There was another one, it was like a diet analysis study, and one cat became a specialist in beaver and just crushed the beaver population in a given area. And the researchers were a little upset because it really, like, it just skewed their data in a really weird way. And this one cat, who knows, that just became its thing. So they become specialists in funny things, but typically, yeah, deer, elk, but they'll eat whatever they can catch.
That's amazing. Could it take down a bear?
Ooh, we have never seen anything like that. They tend to get the heck out of the way for bears.
Yeah, I will add that we have observed a few interesting things where a mountain lion has killed and not eaten several fox kits, and where a mountain lion has killed and not eaten a badger.
And we've had them kill coyotes sometimes to the degree that it looks like persecution, like they're like out to get coyotes. But we've also filmed interactions where a mountain lion is on camera and it becomes aware of a bear coming its direction, and it just leaves, and then the bear shows up. So they're aware of each other, and it seems like because they could do damage to each other, they will leave each other be.
Pretty smart.
Yeah, because if you get hurt, you can't hunt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, last question, and then I think we have time for just one story from you guys. You mentioned that humans and other mountain lions are the biggest threat. Do females have to worry about males, like bears or other females killing other, I guess,
Their kittens.
their kittens?
Yeah, so if a dominant male is removed from a territory and another male comes in to establish, the kittens that are unrelated to him are potentially under threat.
Ooh, interesting.
Ooh, okay. Quick story from each of you.
Each of us.
Yeah, your fascinating, weird, shocking, or surprising thing that has happened or seen
Okay, May, you
in your
start us
research.
off.
Yeah, okay, well, this one's just very recent, so I like telling this one. I was tracking with a partner, and we had just come across a bull elk kill, and we were at the kill site collecting lots of poop, and we hiked out, and then on top of our footprints was this very large mountain lion print. And so we backtracked that cat, so we tracked it to where it was and found that it had been sitting and watching us. We could tell by how it was sitting in the snow, the direction it was pointing. So that was just really creepy, but that happens probably quite
Regularly.
often. But
Yeah, it
just
happens
to
a lot.
see it in person, it was striking for me.
So just over here, I came across a elk kill that a big Tom was on, and we sat down our packs and we were starting to circle around looking for all the cool stuff at a kill site, and came across a dead badger. And the badger wasn't eaten or anything, and we were kind of trying to figure out why there was a dead badger here. And when we kind of zoomed out and looked at the tracks, we could kind of see that this badger probably had wandered too close to this kill site, and the tomcat just played with this badger like a cat would a mouse, and pounced on it and let it go and drag it and pounced on it and just basically played with it. And yeah, didn't end up eating it, just kind of left it there.
Joshua.
Last season, so we backtrack, those are our protocols, but we had found a kill site and I had a new tracker with me who needed some training. So we forward tracked a cat just so that we could find bed opportunities and try to collect hair and scat, and really just get on some tracks because the tracks didn't really go backwards anywhere. And so we were following this young cat that did not want to leave the kill, and about every 50 yards would take a hard right or a hard left and was trying to lose us. And as we followed the tracks, we could see where the cat would stop and its feet would be slightly turned and weighted. So you could tell it was looking behind itself, checking its backtrack, knowing we were coming. And then it would go on a little ways, take a hard turn up above us, and it just kept zigzagging all over the place, trying to lose us. And for hours, we were no more than 50 yards away from this cat, and we never heard a thing.
Cool.
Poor cat.
Yeah. Well, we left it alone eventually and went right back to the kill.
Very fun. Well, I think we're going to end there.
Yep.
Mainly
Time.
because if the kids in Florence will look out the window, they'll see that snow's on its way. So we made it through the day. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. We will have another critter check-in on December 16th or in December, and then another tracking story in January. So tune in, do the work on the Inspired Classroom MPG Ranch Mountain Lion Challenge, and have a great day. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye, everybody.